Alrighty then. So, bit of a random one this morning, but I have to wait for assistance before I can continue with fierce deity things. So, in the interim, I decided it would be really easy to make a half mask. So I'm gonna go and see Ghost fairly soon, and I keep debating what I'm gonna wear. So I thought if I make a Perpetua half mask, it gives me options. So I am going to demo. Ah, yes, you have finally caught me. What's up? How's it going? How you doing? Right, let me pour some glue whilst I wait for the stream delay. So yeah, super random one this morning, but this is one of those things. I was yapping a while ago about it, but most people should be able to do without any specialist equipment. I'm good, the skit went great, and my friend is now wanting to do another. I told you. I told you that's how this goes. Said you'd be fine. Brilliant. Funny enough, I've been keeping an eye on my DMs, hoping to hear back from you. So, I'm very, very glad to hear it. Do I do glue first? Yeah, I'll do glue first. I'll attempt to do glue first. Ooh, that is thick. Oh, God. That is some old glue. Alright, that's fine. That is whatever. Alright. Let me mash this up a bit. Jeez. In fairness, it needs to be reasonably thick to work the best. Did have some mishaps before and after, but it was expected. We're novices after all. Yeah, completely fair. Completely fair. Main thing is, you enjoyed yourselves, you're glad you did it, and you want to do more. Brilliant. That is exceptional. That's how these things should be. Am I going to want to add water to this? I don't know. Might be okay. Might be okay. No, I'm glad it was good. Funny enough, she started planning this new skit right after the convention when we did our skit. That's how this goes. I know. When I... Gee, hang on, let me think. I think it was the night after I'd just done the masquerade. Literally that evening, after getting back to the hotel, I was already sketching out what I wanted my next cosplay to be. It was so bad. I was just sat on the hotel bed, still got all my makeup on and everything, just like, what do I do for the next one? That is exactly how that goes. I'm super stoked. I'm so dumb happy that you guys had a good time. So fun to plan through, yeah. Oh, massively. So a lot of the fun of this stuff is the planning of it. You know, it's a horrendous cliche, but it's not about the destination, it's the journey. You know, it's the build up, it's the hype. It's like Christmas, you know. Christmas wouldn't be nearly as much fun without the ridiculous hype that comes before it. We also learn from our mistakes so we know what to do next time. Exactly. Exactly. Everything is progress, all the time. Constant progress. And that's another cliche. You don't learn anything without mistakes. Not really. You can learn from other people's mistakes, definitely. But you learn the most effectively from your own. Speaking of which, I think I'm going to see if I can get this to work. So, I'll pop some strips up first, because I've not done this. The last time I did this was a few years ago, and I was very, very dangerous with it. So this time I'm going to try and not be as much. What are you making this time? So I'm planning to make a half mask, so sort of around here-ish. Just as kind of a quick, easy, sort of mess around thing that I can do. The last time I made a mask like this, it was for my whole face, and I was very unsafe about it. And I'd put cling film, wrapped my entire face in cling film, held my breath, wrapped my face in cling film, took a scalpel, and cut the nose out so I could breathe. And I did all of this alone with a handheld mirror. And it was very, very dumb. And I shouldn't have done it like that. So this one shouldn't be as dangerous because it's just the eyes, really. But yeah, that was a fun one to explain to people retroactively. Ooh, okay. Well, alright. Glad to help. Well, I say that, but it's probably gonna be carnage, if I'm honest. Now, do I want to... How do I want to approach this? I'm debating whether I rip strips or I cut strips. Probably gonna end up ripping them, to be honest. Because I think the fluffy edges help things to bond a bit better. Whereas a clean edge, not so much. So, let me give it for this. And I will show you how I would approach this. So I like using brown paper because it's quite sturdy, but it's not got any sort of annoying lumps or bumps like you would with kitchen towel. Newspaper is too flimsy, it disintegrates, but brown paper's great. If you're wanting advice for making this strong, then yes, rip it. Yeah, the fibers in the glue, exactly. Yeah. So I think ripping it is the way to go. Bit like fiberglassing. Now I need to do it in reasonably thin strips. And I usually, when I'm tearing up bits of paper, I'll usually have a couple of piles. So I'll have like a big strips, medium strips, and small strips piles. I work with composites. That's how I know ripping for strength is best. Ah, okay. Huge. That's very helpful. I only know as much as I have taught myself, realistically. So, yeah, can't say I know a whole bunch in the grand scheme of things. I know enough, I suppose. Let's do some smaller ones. See how much this gives me. Now, when I'm working with smaller areas with a lot of detail, I like to keep things smaller so that nothing creases and you lose certain shapes. So as I say, I'll usually start by making piles of strips. Gotta make a half mask, so that says it's cultivates a master for 2 characters. Okay. Interesting. When is that for? How long have you got to make it? I'm hoping you've got a while, since you've just had a con. I'm getting better at giving myself realistic deadlines. Because the last one I did almost killed me. So, these days I try to be a little more sensible with it, to be honest. 4 months. Okay. That's uncomfortable. I'll be honest. It's uncomfortable. I suppose, but it depends. It depends how much you've got to do. Because I know none of my stuff is ever easy. So for me, 6 months is the minimum, and that is still uncomfortable. But it depends how much you gotta try and fit into that. And I suppose it also depends how much free time you get. Because for me, not a whole lot. Hence doing this kind of thing as early in the morning as I do. Just got to cover one eye. Already have everything else to make the finish. Clothes. Okay. That's alright then. That should be fine. Good luck with that. Are you going with anyone else for that con as well, or...? I know I've always been someone that prefers going with other people. Same friend who I did the skit with. Good. Okay. I always find cons... Like, I've never been on my own. I just don't think it would be as much fun. I mean, there are people who go on their own, you know, power to you, but it would never be me. I should really just disable that bot at some point. I keep forgetting. Every time the stream's off, that's it. It's out of my brain again. In fairness, I'm debating whether I'd even need to have music. Because I know when I'm watching people do stuff, I'd prefer being able to play my own music in the background and just have them over the top. But I don't know. Is that going to be enough to start with? Probably. I don't have much of an area to cover, so should be okay. Right. So I then have my long strips, my medium strips, and my small strips. And I'm then going to put cling film on my face. Now, before I do that, maybe I should go and get more water. Going as Charlie from Has-Been Hotel. Ah, mixed with Error from Aftertale. Alternate Universe Sans. Blimey. That is a combination. Gee. Is this something you came up with yourself? Or is this something someone else has come up with as a concept? Or... So I'm not privy to either of the fandoms particularly. Like, all I really know out of that is, like, Undertale, and that was back, way back when. So, anything beyond that, I genuinely don't know about. I'm probably gonna need more glue than that. My friends wanted to do either Has-Been Hotel or Undertale mixed party. Decided to mash the two together, since it would still fit if people wanted to do one or the other. Okay. That makes total sense. Makes complete sense. I think I haven't really done, like, a group cosplay with my friends before. We've done characters from the same series, but that was many, 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 many years ago. And really, it was only 3 of us of the group. These days, it's one of those, just do what you like, it's fine. But then we never entered into any competitions as a group or anything, so it didn't really matter to us, you know? Nah, I don't think that's gonna matter, it's probably fine. Right. I am going to duck out real quick, just to refill my drink, and then I will be back. So bear with me a couple of minutes. Okay, I'm back. So, let's see. Will I have enough paper for this? I'm debating it, and I'm thinking maybe not. Is that a future me problem? Yeah, we'll say it is. Screw it. Okay. I'm gonna say screw it, and I'm going to put cling film on my face. You can never have too much. Yeah, yeah. What I'm thinking is at least it gives me something to do as the glue's drying on the first layer if I need to rip up more. So, now, how do I want to approach this? Probably take these off for a second. Oof. Right. Sure, this will be fine. I've got a bigger mirror somewhere. Ah, it's down here. Do I cling film my face over here real quick so I've got a bigger mirror? Maybe. Maybe that's what I do. Ah, okay. Right. I'm gonna do exactly what I said I wasn't gonna do. I'm gonna be unsafe. I'm gonna be unsafe off camera, so no one can say anything. And I'm probably gonna end up cling filming my entire face and cutting the nose out. So I'm gonna go do that over here, so no one can say I'm a bad influence. So bear with me whilst I hold my breath and am, you know, a little bit stupid. Okay, well I can confirm that I'm still alive. I am, however, gonna take my box cutter and do something even more stupid. And that's not working great either. Scissors again. A lot of this is just trying to find the least dangerous method to get into stuff. Unfortunately, my scissors are pretty blunt, which doesn't help a whole bunch. But having the bigger mirror definitely does help. Okay, well on the plus side, the nose is definitely clear. And I'll be back to read the chat soon, I promise. I just have to sort out this other eye. And then everything after that should cease to be dangerous. So I can wander back over. Quiet, 'cause I'm concentrating, by the way. Not because I've done anything super dangerous. Well, I mean, I suppose it depends how you look at it. It's not the safest thing, but it's not that bad. The main thing is I need to be able to get the shape in there. That seems pretty alright. I can see everything okay. Should be able to push paper in where I need to. without too much resistance. Okay. Right, it's not the most flattering look on the planet. So, hope you're prepped for a jump scare. uh, cool, okay. Yeah, no, I have not cut myself. I've not. I've been I've been reasonably careful. Could have been more careful, but I've been reasonably careful. Yes. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just want to make sure that bit's covered. I had to cut a slit in it so that I could press in there and get that shape. But I also don't want to get glue on my face, so I need to tape up over the gap. Enough. Alright. Epic. So, I now have cling film on my face. Yay. Awesome. So as far as what I'm making, it would probably help if I had a rough reference. Yeah. Okay. So it does actually come down pretty far past. So it's handy that I've got that there. Alright. Cool. So, at this point, I'm just going to put paper on my face. And we'll see how that goes. I'm debating whether I try and put my headphones back on or not. Will I be able to hear anything? Let me see. Oh yeah, I can hear stuff. But do I need this to go all the way around the side of my face? That's the question. I mean, on here, not particularly. Can I flick my fringe a little more out my face from under here? Yeah, I can. Okay. Hang on. So that's probably going to mess with it. There we go, that's better. Right. Cool. Super, super flattering, clearly. Right. Awesome. Can I get any more references? Because I'm pretty sure this actually goes quite high up. Pretty sure. Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, screw it. For now, I'll just take it all the way around my face. Well, the upper part anyway. And then, yeah, that's kind of it. Do I want to wear gloves while I do this? I do hate having sticky hands. Let's say yes. Why not? Figure out which is the thumb. It's this one. Cool. Alright. At this point, we say screw it. We see how far I get. I just dunk this in here. Yeah, that seems fine. Start it from right the way around there. And I should have anticipated getting glue everywhere. Take that all the way up. All the way around. Yeah, why not? Okay. Do a similar sort of thing with this one. I think gloves was the way to go with this, to be honest. I think that's gonna work out best. And I want to take it further than I actually need it to be. Because I can chop it back afterwards, that's no biggie. That's kind of what the plan will be. Now, if I can just get a rough idea of what I'm doing, that's fine. Because I'm going to build on top of this afterwards anyway. So, no big deal. Okay. I think smaller strips are going to end up being more useful than the bigger ones, to be honest. But then I thought that right from the get-go. So that's fine. Ugh, I'm definitely going to get glue everywhere. Oh hum. That is a future me problem. I'm probably going to be here for a while. Funny, this whole thing, this whole project was very much like an impulse decision. I was just lying in bed last night, like, what do I do tomorrow? That's something I can do. There was no reason for it particularly, it was just, I can, so why not? Nothing else gives me a good chuckle. I will say this glue does not smell good. It smells really not good. I'm not going to say bad, because it's not, like, horrendous, but also it's definitely not pleasant. Some of these. I think these need to be thinner. Yeah, that's better. I did a similar thing when I made my Huntress mask. That was a fun one, actually. Should make more of those. That was a really fun one. I debated it, if there was a market for it. Yeah, I should have enough paper here, to be honest. Definitely should have enough. I'm going to start using the brush in a second. Once there are a few strips down, it becomes a lot easier to mess around with a brush than to just whack glue on my fingers. I want to start pulling strips off again. That's just going to get annoying. I want to get a smaller strip in there. It's up here instead. Brush time. Smaller strips. Gonna make my life easier, for sure. Yeah, that's better. Okay. The wetter it all gets, the more it's gonna willingly conform to my face. I'm just gonna need a bunch of layers, that's all. That's no biggie. Just have to straighten my back out periodically. That's all. That's still an unpleasant smell, but oh well. I've definitely done worse. See if I can get something going along here. Down there, especially. Actually, let's use you. Why not? I'm back retroactively to deal with that. As I say, I'm only really doing this to get a base to work from, and then I will sculpt on top of it after the fact. So I'm not particularly precious about how this winds up, so long as it's vaguely accurate to my face, I'm unbothered. If I can avoid gluing my eyelashes to anything, that would be great. I don't necessarily fancy my chances, though. I hope you're comfortable, because I'm going to be here for a while, so yeah. Definitely going to throw me back out. Probably do that. Yeah, I would have shown the cling filming on cam, but I don't want to be a bad influence. So, you know, I'll just say that I cut out holes for the eyes and the nose, and that's where I'll leave it. I shall say no more on the matter. Need to be a really small strip. I don't mind the crease for now. I can sort it out in a minute. Not too bothered as things stand. I tend to find the way I've torn stuff lends itself nicely to different curves. So I'll pick things based on the shape a lot of the time. And that'll kind of decide where I want to put it. Another benefit of not doing things in straight lines. If any of my workmates show up to this stream again, they're going to be very confused. But probably unsurprised, all things considered. Okay, making progress. I can get away with that. Okay. Let's do that. Hope nobody's squeamish around their eyes. I'm certainly not. I've got another curved bit here. Can I? Yeah, I can slide that in under there. That checks out. Definitely going to be ripping out some eyelashes with this one. Oh well, it is what it is. I should probably be more bothered than I am, so whatever. Can I get away with some bigger bits at this point? I feel like I can. I think I can up there. The first layer or so is always the most irritating. But once you get the shapes in and everything starts kind of solidifying a bit, it just kind of gets an awful lot easier past that point. What else have I got that's in a good sort of curve? Not an awful lot, so I can afford to put the straighter bits in other places. Unless that's reasonably okay, but does it need to go there? Potentially not. That's pretty decent, actually. I'll do that. Yeah, that's fine. I've got some bigger bits that I can start whacking on the forehead, probably. Yeah, probably. Just take that up a little bit higher. Higher the better, realistically. Cool. All big bits. I always prefer less messy methods. So if I can use a brush rather than my fingers, I would always rather. That is my preferred. Sometimes fingers is the sensible play, but I don't enjoy it. I much prefer precision. Speaking of which, let me see. Get a little strip here. Kind of. I'll take kind of for now. Whack another one on top. Just why not? Nose is always the bit that I try to go over the most. Okay. Let's whack on some more big bits. Because the edges are also very important and very easy to forget. I'm shedding so many glue bits. Not a bad thing, it means it's drying. I feel like some of these are too big to be actually useful. The overlap is what matters. Really. That one definitely went on too dry. That's my bad. In my reluctance to get my hands covered in glue. I gotta bite the bullet on that one. What's the time? Okay, 4:30, that's fine. That's fine, I got time. I got time. I gotta go do some stuff early this morning. So, be vaguely time conscious. Still early enough that I don't actually have to care, but I will eventually have to care. So, you know. But I will also have to be back this time. So it's fine. For all the times I say I'll be back and then I'm not, this time I will actually have to be back. So should be fine. My intent is to spend most of my day today doing stuff. What stuff I'll be doing will vary, but it will still be stuff. I'm so gonna come away from this with glue on my face. So am. Right. We'll have to reinforce around the eyes. That's a curve. And one of these. Again, I hope nobody's squeamish, particularly. Because I don't have an awful lot of chill when it comes to stuff like this. I am markedly unbothered, despite what the voice crack suggests. Enough. Not horrendous. This looks pretty useful. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Definitely too much glue on that lower edge. Probably reinforce that with one of these. Feels better. I tend to focus the eyes and the nose and then kind of build up around them after the fact. Because they're the bits that really matter. Anything else that goes on top of those is just to reinforce them, really. You can also retroactively reinforce it from the inside once it's off your face, but I just think the more time you spend on this bit, the less you have to mess around later. So, you know, it all checks out, really. Mm. Just, don't start doing something like this if you don't have a few hours just kicking about. Because you will be here for a while. Sorry for not chatting much, I'm crocheting. Yo, huge, okay. Crochet is one of those things I've always looked at and admired, but I've never had enough of an interest to kind of actually give it a go for myself. I enjoy the premise, but I don't think I'm one of those people. I enjoy immediate gratification, so I don't think I'd be able to stick with it particularly, if I'm honest. Recommend Wobbles if you want to try. They teach it so well. Interesting. Okay. I might look into it. I also have to be careful because I'm one of those people, like, I get very easily sucked into new hobbies, and then it just becomes a black hole for a while. I'm the same with video games. I get absorbed into certain games for a stupidly long time. It just consumes everything. Autocorrect is not on your side today. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'll have a look. I cannot lose any of my patterns in the process. That would be great. Probably should have moved all of this before I started, but there you go. Foresight is not my strongest area. I tend to just do stuff. It's one of those, I never would have described myself as impulsive. But the more I think about it, the more I absolutely am. I'm just not like a kind of risk-takey impulsive, but I'm definitely a project impulsive. Definitely. Yeah, that works. I think crocheting and knitting are a couple of things that I've sort of looked at. Thought I'd probably like that, and then thought, I don't know. I don't know if I've got the patience for that. I mean, I do, but it is just the instant gratification thing. Like, I'm great at starting projects. I'm not so great at finishing them. So I have to be fairly mindful that that is a pre-existing thing. Mm. You love knitting? Awesome. Currently lurking crochet from Woomers, which I mentioned earlier. Okay. Yeah, knitting is another one of those things. I mean, I tried it briefly because way back in the day, I had a Saturday job working in a hobbycraft branch, and one of the ladies that I worked with used to knit when there was nothing going on. It was a tiny branch, and she taught me at one point, but I never pursued it in the end. As I say, I have to be a little bit wary about hobbies. I have a tendency to kind of go all in when I do stuff. That's too big. Not quite. I do like seeing what other people come up with, though. As I say, I can admire stuff, I just have to do it from a distance. Can't get too involved, otherwise that's it. Game over. I can get away with that. I always aim to take the eyes in as close as I can, and then cut them away after the fact. Same with the edges. I always aim to take them further out than I actually need them to be. It makes sense to do it that way, to be honest. Definitely gonna do my back in doing it like this, but oh well. Just have to stretch out periodically. No biggie. At least if I get this done and out the way early this morning, I've got the rest of the day to stand up straight.
I'd originally thought of bringing a handheld mirror in here with me, but no, I need my hand. It's not going to be a thing, to be honest. That's not going to work. Just losing so much glue off of these gloves. Like a snow globe. I'm not going to take this mask up as high as it is on some of the references, because I'm going to do something slightly different with it. Because I'm not going to be wearing this with a hat or anything. I'm just going to make it a fairly standard half mask and have it come up sort of shorter on the forehead than it would otherwise be. If I wanted to do this properly, then I'd have gelled my hair down first, but I don't need it to be like that, so it's fine. Fine as is, to be honest. It's been a while since I've done anything like this. I used to do this sort of thing all the time. Just sat in my bedroom in my early teens, playing film and glue on my face. Good times. Good times. Simpler times, I suppose. But it is what it is. I quite enjoy having the experience that I do these days. It just means that I don't do as much sort of arts and crafts, I guess. A lot of what I do now tends to be in a slightly more professional vein, which is great. You know, I still love it, but it's not got the same charm as stuff like this. My brain looked at my phone, which is on my lap, and all I could think was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, yep, that is that's fair, really. It's so weird. I wanna I wanna smile, but if I do, I'm gonna mess this up, so I have to like cry and not, and it just makes everything I say seem insincere. Kind of funny. Almost like the Botox effect. see if I got any decent curves on any of these. Yeah, can do that. What other curves have I got? That's a pretty nice one. We'll get that in there. That should be fine. Not terrible. Not too bad. Okay. Yeah, I can fit that in places. Do I want to do under or over? Let's do over. I think I'm going to approach this with okay, that works. That works. I think I'm going to take a bunch of little thin strips to try and get that shape right. I think. I don't know, it might not matter. It might be alright. Doesn't seem too bad in fairness. I think if I do this side as well, and then do some more nose strips, I think that'll serve me well. Oops. Fit that in there. Yeah, that's definitely glue on my actual eyelid. Cool. What's gonna happen? That is a future me problem. And I will deal with that later. Right, I need to deal with some more of these edges. So, whack some glue on here. Yeah, that is glue on my actual face. Okay. That's fine. Getting there. Definitely getting there. Need a bunch of layers. Yeah, that's doable. Yeah, no, it is. It is, okay. Wasn't sure if it was going to be too long. Actually, it should be okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. See if I can do a similar thing on the other side. But that I could do. That seems okay. Seems pretty doable. Does not look good around my eye. But I promise it's fine. It looks way more uncomfortable than it actually is. Everything's just a little bit smushed. No biggie. Kinda need to do thin strips along here. And that should be alright. We'll see. That's not the end of the world. Certainly done worse. What else have I got? Sure, why not? I'm getting there with this. I'm getting there. Do some more bigger bits. I'm gonna need some more glue soon as well. See how long I can make this last, but definitely gonna need some more. Just hate wasting anything, so I prefer doing things in small bits and adding to it if I need to. Probably comes from kind of growing up without the resources. So I was always just kind of super conservative with everything. Not a bad thing. Just means that stuff tends to take a little bit longer. But I don't mind that. I'd rather that and not waste anything. So I do have to remind myself every now and then that I am an adult with adult money and I'm allowed to spend it on this stuff. I don't know. I'm one of those people. I like saving materials, saving money, just saving makes me happy. Okay. More focus on the edges, I think. I don't like doing big bits. I like the smaller bits that overlap. I know it takes longer, but it just feels more secure. Mm. Everything feels fairly solid at this point, which is nice. But I do have a lot of layering still to do. Not the end of the world. Just time consuming. And definitely going to need more glue. That's fine. Oh my god, I can't. I can hear my dad snoring. I'm below him, lol. Yo. Nah, screw that. Snoring is one of those things I just can't deal with. For no real reason. I just absolutely can't handle it. Then it's fine for me because I sleep alone in my room with an air conditioning unit, so background noise. But if I'm ever somewhere else and I'm with mates and they snore, nah, nah, absolutely not. I can sleep to most noise. Snoring, can't handle it. Don't know why. In fairness, I don't think I could do any of this stuff in the house at this time of morning. It's not particularly fair. I mean, my nan's awake because she and I are both nuts, but don't really want to wake my granddad up with all sorts of nonsense. In fairness, I don't use any power tools this early in the morning because we have neighbours, they exist. But also, I don't really want anything to stop me getting on with the stuff that I want to get on with. I like to have as much of the day as possible. See, look, that just happens to randomly fit there really well, so it lives here now. I tend to treat things like this like a puzzle. If you take care of the edges, the middle tends to sort itself out. Yeah, that's really good. This always takes more layers than I think it will. So I'll look at it and go, oh, it seems alright, but no, I should do more. I should definitely do more. Let's grab this one. It's pretty okay. But I have to be patient now and not get ahead of myself. Because if I take this off too soon, then I've wasted the almost 2 hours that I've already spent on this. So may as well take my time and do it properly and only have to do it once. But I'm going to require more glue eventually. I'll just use up what I've got and then mess about with it after the fact. Probably need more paper as well, in fairness. See how far I can get with this. Let's see, it's too long. Crease too much. Last time I made a mask like this, I think I ended up covering it in fabric. And that thing was obscenely strong. different purpose though. Like, the final mask I make for this needs to be pretty slick. So, I got plans. I got plans. There's a method to the madness. Hmm. That works out. Have I got another one similar? Oops. Yeah, kinda. I will roll with kinda. At least it doesn't smell so bad anymore. I probably just got used to it, to be fair. Either way, not as unpleasant as when I started. So, I see that as a win. Try and get a long strip in here. If I can tie everything all together. Hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Let's give it one of these. Not too bad. Try and sort some of this out. And finesse it a little bit. Mm. I'm going to do thinner bits. I think they're going to be easier to form. Just to be a little smoother. Makes sense. I want to be able to get the brow bone in as best I can. Can't wait to see the thumbnail that the stream manager gives me after this. It's gonna be hilarious. can work on that side as well. What are the thin bits? This should be fine. Yeah, that makes sense. I get away with? I shouldn't. Shouldn't. Do the thinner bit. It will sit better. This is working out pretty okay. I don't mind this a whole bunch so far. Not horrendous by any stretch. Gloves are going to get annoying. They are just covered in crap. Let's see. Let me tear up a bunch of these. Again, I don't think big bits are going to be helpful anyway. Okay. What can I do with these? And that was my concern with the gloves. A lot of dried glue on there that's going to wind up on here and just be kind of annoying. So I'll probably get rid of that in a second, to be honest. I'm gonna need to sort the glue situation out, to be honest. Kept acknowledging it and then doing nothing about it. So I don't need to actually do something now. That's fine. Take these off as well. They are getting annoying. And they're also getting just glue everywhere. Which helps nothing, realistically. Say that, and how much water am I going to want to add to that? Is the question. And stir as many of the lumps out of it as I can first. Kind of like when you're making pancakes. You know, if you beat the lumps out of it before you add more liquid, then it's an easier time. That's better than it was. Better than it was. I don't want to add too much water to it. That's definitely too much. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. I'll just add more glue. We'll have loads of lumps in it, but oh well. I should probably add more papers to this anyway, so it's fine. I think I will quickly contend with this. No, okay. I think I'm gonna BRB, just sort some stuff out real quick, and then come back and do more layers of stuff. So, bear with me for 5 minutes or so, and I will be back. Alright, I'm back. Back and jump scare. So, gee, it's cold out there. Oish. Right. Where was I at? I was gluing more things and stuff. So, okay. Probably going to need more paper, I think. That was the consensus. So I'll cut a little bit. I don't want to cut a whole lot. Mm. Oh, similar sorts of sizes. A couple of bigger ones. I don't think I'm going to use bigger ones, in fairness. Well, I'll leave it. I'll leave it. I might change my mind. That was good timing. Just finished your crochet, buddy. Yo, that's huge. That's nuts. I imagine you were working on that for a while, though, right? Yeah, leave that. Ugh. Hands are cold. I don't want to get glue on my jumper. I'm pretty good with stuff like that. It should be fine. Do some more gloves. I think that'll stop my hands from freezing. They do just go fun shade of blue. From the start of stream to now, whoa. That's nuts. Like I said, Weebles is good. Done one of their things and retrained the info because they taught it so well. Ah, okay. That's only a couple of hours, which is mental. That is nuts. But then I suppose if you've done it before as well, that's going to help, right? I feel like I'm going to need more glue. Definitely put too much water in by accident. Yeah, but with the fact that they have both video and written instructions. Ah, okay. Able to follow the written instructions instead of skipping between stream and video. Okay, huge. That's very handy. I'm still surprised it was that quick. That is impressive. Now that I think about it, so am I. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was crazy quick. Let's do that. I guess when I'm watching someone doing something, I body double. Yeah, just got so into it, you did it fast. Yep, that is exactly how that works. That is super, super accurate. I do that sort of thing with my nan all the time. She's painting and I'm sewing or whatever. Things just kind of happen and you're like, oh, it's already like 4 in the afternoon. Whoops. Guess I just kind of got through a bunch of stuff. Good for me, I guess. Funny how things like that work out. Mm. What kind of glue? Just PVA, wood glue, standard stuff. I like it because it tends to kind of be almost rubberized, like the combo, the brown paper and the glue. Also, very cheap, and you can find it literally everywhere. So good to know. Yeah, I just I just find that that's how it tends to work out. You can kind of see it on here, like it's reasonably solid, but it's still got that sort of flex to it. Like it's sturdy and it's pretty stiff, but if you do bend it, like it will bend, and it won't necessarily snap. So it's pretty durable, really. Mm. Everything's got its applications, I suppose. But then I also tend to stick to what I know. I'm getting better at branching out, but for the most part, it's one of those, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it, you know? Especially for things like this, which are pretty inconsequential. Like, this as a project really is not a big deal. It's just a silly little something to fill up some time before I get back to my big something.
Mm.
But I will be back on the big something today. I'm just gonna have to call in an assistant to help me with some stuff. But that'll be going up later on today, so I won't spoil the surprise for now. It should be fairly amusing. That's the hope, at least. Okay. Getting better. As I say, it's pretty stiff at this point, which is good. But I don't want it to be as solid as humanly possible. Well, say that. As solid as is sensible. Again, none of this is particularly high stakes. Like, I'm not competing with this or anything. This is just a silly little something. So, meh. No biggie. Not really. Let me see if I can get some more angles on some of this. I'm worried everything's kind of facing the same direction at the minute. And that does not help things. I'm gonna have to cut the eyes right the way back at the end. That's fine, because I'll have plenty of paper making up the edges by that point, which is what really matters. Nah, I can get away with a big bit here, why not? Screw it. Screw it, that seems doable. It's all extra strength on the edges, so I can justify it. Definitely going to be peeling little bits of glue off of my face later, but oh well. It is what it is, and I'm not bothered. I've got plenty of time yet. I think it's only sort of 5:30-ish. Don't like That seems fine. This one of these. Fill in that gap along there. And I don't like using big bits. I think I'm just going to stick to thinner strips for the most part. This makes more sense. Use some more edges. And get away with big bits on the edges, in fairness. Probably not that big though. It just doesn't. I just don't like it. Let's do some of these. Yeah, that seems fine. The whole point is I want to get that edge done. That's better. That makes more sense. More edges. I can fill that one in. I don't like the straight edges. I can do that. Some kind of crisscross. Yeah, why not? That's better. That is better. Alright. Can I get away with a big bit on the forehead? Yes. Yes, I can. I should make a bunch of masks like this and just do various things with them after the fact. Like Venetian masks. I've always really, really liked Venetian masks. They are exceptionally cool. I've always been an admirer of things that are kind of slightly sinister and uncanny. Don't know why, I just have always liked it. Things like jesters and puppets, mannequins, etc. Just a big fan. Then I've got friends who can't deal with stuff like that, so each to their own. I've just always enjoyed it, personally. My nose is pretty solid, but paranoia dictates that I add some stuff on there anyway. So I am going to be hacking away at this after the fact, so it ought to be pretty solid, to be honest. I'll have to decide at what point I can sensibly consider removing this from my face. So I will eventually need to. But I don't know. At the minute, I'm content to leave it as a future me problem. I got time. I just also have things I need to do this morning. So, you know. I definitely just got glue in my eye. Oh well. This is where I start to do all the really fiddly little bits. Because I want to make sure that nose bridge is strong enough. But because there's a lot of shape to it, it requires lots of little pieces. That's better. This makes everything a little more sturdy. I'll leave that to dry for a bit whilst I look at the other parts of the face. Like all the way along down here. Imagine I can get away with using some bigger bits along here. Yeah, should be fine. Should be fine. And more edges. These, I guess. More. And more edges. Let's say one of these. That round. Like that. You know, closer in. There we go. That's better. Ooh. Hmm. more edges. Yes, I think more edges. Do one up here. Then I'll look at more edges. Probably gonna need more pieces again, which is fine. Keep thinking it's a weekend. It isn't. It is a Thursday. But it feels like a weekend. Because I got some time off, so I'm more than happy to pretend that it's a weekend. Got a lot planned for today. A lot of fun stuff, but you know, I've got a couple of obligations to contend with first thing. Beyond that, the plan is very much to just be in here all day, so that's the aim. Another big edge piece up here. It's still pretty flimsy along there. At least then I can patch over the edges after the fact. That's feeling better along there. That's progress, but still needs more. Okay, better. Definitely better. This is all feeling pretty solid along the sort of lower part of the forehead, which is good. But it can still be better. Yeah, I'm gonna need more paper. That's fine, I expected to. No big deal. Not really. So, gloves aren't too bad in fairness. let's say still gonna do it a bit at a time. Try and do some bigger bits. Nothing too big, because then it just becomes kind of pointless, because I will tear it down. Let's see, that's too big. For that part, anyway. That looks pretty okay. I'll whack some glue on that. I think... yeah, that's good. That works. Then I think do another nose strip. So now I've done 1,000,000 already, but you can never do too many. Or just keep following it around, I guess. There. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. You are right. I'm just very conscious that I'll be cutting into it. So I want to make it strong, but not just a mound. Say the edges are my main concern. It's still pretty flimsy on this side. So I think I will just whack more in there. Right, doing the big bits. Let me see. Can I get some bits coming across? Because I would like to. Better. Do a similar sort of thing up here. Doesn't feel too bad up there. It's a little bit soft, but it's definitely better than it was. That's a fairly sensible piece. Better. As I say, the lower forehead sort of brow area feels pretty solid, which is good. And I suppose that'll be the eyes and the amount of layers I did on those. Just want to make sure the edges are okay. Not looking too bad, in fairness. Certainly be a lot worse. Let's do another big bit across the very top of the forehead. And cover that with some other bits at angles. A big bit across here. Oh dear, autism hyperfocus crash. I guess it's bedtime, but I'll leave a lurk. Fair enough. Fair enough. That is very, very real. You go do you. That is completely fine with me. You managed to get a project done, which is nuts. So, you know, big ups for that. And yeah, go enjoy going to sleep. That is a good thing to go and do. I'll just be here, you know, paper and glue on my face. Pretty average morning. And then later on, I will be doing more things to my main project. So that'll be fun. That's a few hours away yet. So can get all of this done this morning, and that gives me things that I can work on down the line that aren't just my main deal. Okay. That's very flimsy. That's not terrible. If I stick another one up here, I think that'll help. So I'm running out of glue again. I'm not going to want an awful lot more, I don't think. Not really. Not really. Just fill in some of those gaps. Feel slightly better about my life. Slightly better? What? Oh, I'm getting lost in the sauce. Easily done. It's better. Definitely better. At this point, I kind of want to get just smaller thinner strips in. Just for that extra strength. It's hard to know whether it's just because it's wet or if it needs more layers. But, as I say, the lower forehead feels completely fine. I'm taking that as a win. Seems pretty solid. That's flimsy, but that's whatever. Pretty solid in there. Okay. So not too bad. But I still had a bunch of this. Good, because I think I'm going to need it. Oish. Down throat. That's the trouble. When I get used to sort of talking low and quietly, throat bugs out. Please. Okay, fix it. Fix it. It's fine. Everything's fine. Definitely. Definitely fine. That feels better. Along there. That seems quite good along there, actually. Up high, I still can't really tell at the minute. It's still wet. But I want to stick some more up there anyway. Okay, in fairness, it is feeling better. It's all very solid anyway. I don't need to worry about this. I'm going to want to worry about it, but I don't need to. Feels less solid than the other side for some reason. Might just be because the left side's wet. But even so, might as well whack another little bit on there. This all feels too flimsy to me. Hard to know because this side feels a lot more solid than this side. So let me whack some more bits on here. Just in case. Seems better. Trouble is, I'm not going to be able to saturate the paper without more glue and water. Oh, please don't put too much water, please don't. Right. It's a tiny bit. Good. But it needed to be the first time. Yeah, realistically, there's not enough glue left in there. Not really. Okay, that's all feeling better. I don't think it's quite enough. Not for my purposes. So how much can I get away with here? So a tiny bit. See how we go. Where else do I want to put it? Again, it's all sort of up in and around here. For any I put lengthways, I need to put some vertically as well. Let's say I did that. It's not terrible. Can certainly live with that. Okay. It's all starting to feel pretty sturdy anyway, which is good. So I don't think I'm going to need to do an awful lot more to this. Not really. It's still a bit flimsy up around here. It's fine. Put some more up there. It's still wet. So in fairness, it ought to sort itself out anyway. But just to be on the safer side, I'll whack some more up there anyway. All of this feels pretty okay. On here it's great, but I don't know, I might still need to do more to the edges. Which means accepting that I'm going to need more glue. And that is way too thick. So then it's a case of not putting too much water in here, which I can't really trust myself with. Okay, that was a tiny bit. Maybe I'm getting the hang of it. Don't want to jinx it though. I'll stick with a maybe. That seems better. Okay. Yeah. I think just focusing the edges, really. Nothing new at this point. Okay. It certainly feels more solid than it was. Everything up in the middle of the face feels pretty good. I'm reasonably okay with that. In fairness, I don't think I'm too far off at this point. I think this is pretty decent. By the time it's all dried down, it ought to be even more so. Mm, yeah, it's going to be flimsy up there. Don't believe I'm actually going to end up needing it to go that high. That's not really a problem. Not really. But better to be safe, so I'm not particularly bothered. That's pretty okay. All in there is good. That. See, it's better on this side again than it is on this side. Maybe it is just a case of waiting for it to dry down. And it'll be better after that. I think if I try and use a few more bits, basically use up whatever glue I've got left. Which isn't a whole lot, to be honest. part where I start getting random chunks of glue that are all dried up, getting stuck on various points. Stick another one of these in here, why not? Seems better. That feels very flimsy. That's fine, but that's still not ideal. So, see if I can fix that at least a little bit. Don't think it's gonna go back that far anyway. But even so. I got enough glue left to do just this last little bit. Probably. And past this point, it's kind of just a waiting game, really. Just leaving this on my face while things set. And just kind of having a poke, seeing how solid stuff is. Again, up here, not so much, but also it doesn't need to be, so yeah, not super phased. If I've got little bits of glue left, I'll just kind of smush it around. It'll add stability, so, you know, no biggie, not really. Okay, cool. So let's say that's probably fine for now. Where is the lid? It's here. Did I get all the crud off of this? That's something to be wary of with glue. It tends to get stuck in the threads of your bottle. And if you leave it there, it'll dry out. Because you can't get a good enough seal with the lid. And that's what had happened to this when I opened it before the stream. I had to remove a massive lump from inside the bottle that was just dry and gross. But then this is also a very old bottle of glue. But glue is always useful, so I've always got loads kicking about. And as far as this, it's one of those, if you just use it for glue anyway, you can just kind of leave it to dry and then pick bits off after the fact, but I think I'll be vaguely good here and just give it a wipe. better than doing nothing. And I don't like rinsing it out particularly, because then you end up with glue down the sink, and that's just not a fun time. So it's good enough for now, and then pick up the rest of it later. At this point, I kind of need to just tidy some of the area, because it's covered in little glue fragments and what have you. Cling film I'll need later for reasons. Glue brush I should definitely wash out, because it will just go stiff and that will be annoying. Just a tinier brush that I'd considered using if I was going to need it, but I don't think it's super necessary, so that's fine. Try and tidy up at least a bit. There is just crud everywhere. That's going to wind up being annoying later on. Out of interest. Not bad, but okay. Alright, well, I am slightly limited with what else I can get on with in the meantime, to be honest, because I kind of just have to leave this on my face for a while and see what happens. In fairness, it feels pretty okay. So I reckon I will chance it. Just leave it here for a while. Okay. As far as other stuff I can get on with, slightly limited. Because all the other things that I will need to test today require using a respirator. And at the minute, I can't do that. So I'm debating whether I'll actually be able to get away with taking this off. Of course, I hadn't considered how I was going to get this off, because I'm not going to cut it, because my face is under here and my hair, so no. I should be able to tear it though. I can cut this last little bit. There's the glue I was talking about. Ah. Okay, at the minute it's definitely still too wet. But I'll do what I did last time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave it sat like this. Because if you leave it slightly tighter, when you go to wear it, it opens out and it sticks to your face. So I'm going to leave it like that, somewhere that isn't here. Try and get the glue off of my face. Yeah. Thought I was pretty good, to be fair. Oh no, I got a bit on my lid as well. Okay. 3.5 hours, jeez. That long. That's a little bit nuts. There is so much glue everywhere. This is hilarious. I genuinely thought I'd done a really good job. Apparently, not as good as I thought. Oh well. Or I'll be picking off glue throughout the day anyway. No biggie. So, for now, I can leave this somewhere that is not the table I need to work on. And that can be doing its own thing. Which is fine. Okay. No, I still got glue on my lashes. Right. Pin my fringe back out the way. Jeez, that is a look. Right. Ooh. Well, that's something done. It just took a very long time. That's something else about streaming. So I have pretty aggressive time blindness. Streaming means I can keep tabs on how long things actually take. And I am always surprised. Jeez. I can just see the glue in my eyes. Oh well. That's fine. That is a future me affair. Right. So, what I'm probably... what's the time? 7, exactly, 7 AM. Cool. Hmm, I'm reluctant to start other bits until I've got the main thing done that I need for later. It's so vague. It's fine, all will be revealed later on. But for now, it has to stay vague. I suppose I could just kind of casually work on some of the Pokemon stuff for a mate. But then I need to run extractors for the dust, and that's loud, and it's still pretty early, so I shouldn't really. Not really. Mm, um, what else can I do that is not going to take a ton of time? That's not not an awful lot, to be honest. Let me put this away for the minute. I will need my respirator later when I test things and stuff, but not yet. So I'll leave it for now. Yeah, I need to be careful because if I start another project, I know how that goes. So I might just actually call it there for now. That might be the best way of doing this. So that'll fit. Question is, how do I get it out of here? Never done that before. Okay. Right. I think for now, I'm going to need to use this later for cutting things. I think for now, I will I will call it, and I will come back later when I have the resources for the thing I need to do. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So for now, I'm going to duck out, and then when I come back, I should be able to just yeet my way into everything. And yeah. So I'll be back later. For real this time. I have to. I literally have to be back. So yeah. Catch you then.